From the earliest moments I can remember, I was aware of a restlessness inside me, a silent whisper that refused to be ignored. It was not dissatisfaction with life itself, but a persistent questioning. Why do some people rise to extraordinary heights while others drift through their days in quiet mediocrity? What is it that separates the successful from those who merely aspire? I had read, observed, and listened, but no answer satisfied me. Until one day, I discovered the truth. Success begins and ends in the mind. I recall the morning vividly, a morning like many others, yet destined to become the turning point of my life. I sat quietly, reflecting on the course of my days when the realization struck me. My thoughts had been scattered, my energy diffused, my goals vague and undefined. I had knowledge, ambition, and the capacity to act, yet I lacked one essential foundation, a definite purpose. I understood, as Napoleon Hill had taught, that without a clearly defined goal, the mind drifts and opportunity slips unnoticed. From that day forward, I committed to the pursuit of clarity, a purpose so precise that every action, every decision, every thought could align with it. I began by asking myself the difficult questions. What do I truly want? What am I willing to sacrifice? What value can I create that will endure? The process was neither simple nor comfortable. It demanded honesty, introspection, and the courage to confront my own limitations. I realized that self-deception is the greatest obstacle to achievement, and that to succeed, one must first see oneself with unflinching clarity. With these questions, I constructed my first map, a mental blueprint of the life I intended to build. Clarity of purpose alone, however, was insufficient. I needed faith not in luck, circumstance, or chance, but in the power of my own mind to shape reality. I began cultivating this faith deliberately, feeding it with affirmations, reflection, and action. Faith is not passive. It is the engine that transforms thought into reality, and I discovered that every step toward my goal reinforced this inner conviction. Each small success, each act of persistence, became a brick in the foundation of confidence. Action followed thought and belief. I did not wait for opportunity to appear, I created it. I sought knowledge relentlessly, recognizing that specialized knowledge properly applied is more valuable than generalized intelligence. I read, observed, experimented, and consulted experts. I treated every encounter, every experience, every challenge as a lesson, a piece of the puzzle that would eventually reveal the greater picture. Knowledge alone is inert. Applied knowledge is power. I made it my mission to convert insight into intelligent action daily. Decision-making became a sacred practice. I observed that indecision and procrastination are the twin enemies of achievement. The mind that hesitates invites delay, and delay, uncorrected, hardens into habit. I cultivated decisiveness, understanding that the ability to make and act upon decisions promptly distinguishes leaders from followers. Each decision, regardless of immediate outcome, was a lesson, refining my judgment, strengthening my confidence, and sharpening my intuition. I learned to trust my mind, guided by principle, reason, and vision. Persistence, I discovered, was the bridge between thought and manifestation. Early in my journey, obstacles appeared as if arranged by some unseen hand to test resolve. Projects faltered, opportunities seemed to vanish, and doubts assailed me relentlessly. Yet I understood that persistence is the hallmark of success, and that every failure contains the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. I refused to be discouraged, adapting, recalibrating, and pressing forward. Persistence, combined with clarity and faith, became a force capable of bending circumstance to my will. Alongside persistence, imagination became my companion. Not the idle fancy of daydreams, but creative imagination, the faculty through which ideas, strategies, and innovations are conceived. I visualized solutions where others saw obstacles, opportunities where others saw dead ends. I trained my mind to explore possibilities beyond the immediate, to invent strategies that would allow me to circumvent limitations, and to envision outcomes in precise detail. Imagination is the laboratory of the mind. Through it, abstract thought transforms into actionable insight. I also learned the indispensable value of a mastermind. Surrounding myself with those of complementary skills, vision, and dedication amplified my efforts. I discovered that the coordinated energy of a group of like-minded individuals multiplies intelligence, insight, and opportunity. My mastermind became a sounding board, a source of accountability, and a network of encouragement. Together, we explored possibilities, solved problems, and created opportunities that no individual could have realized alone. The synergy of minds working toward a shared objective revealed the limitless potential of collaboration. The journey demanded more than intellect and effort. It required emotional discipline. Fear, envy, impatience, and anger are silent killers of potential. I learned to observe these emotions, to understand their triggers, and to replace them with patience, empathy, and resolve. Emotional intelligence, I realized, is the lens through which opportunity is perceived and action executed effectively. A calm, focused mind can navigate chaos, detect opportunity, and act with precision. I cultivated this discipline daily, recognizing that mastery of self is inseparable from mastery of circumstance. Money, opportunity, and success flowed naturally as I applied these principles, but I understood that true achievement is measured by contribution, not accumulation. I sought to create value, to improve the lives of others, and to leave a lasting positive impact. In doing so, I discovered the law of compensation. The universe rewards those who serve with integrity, effort, and generosity. Wealth, influence, and recognition are byproducts of value creation, not ends in themselves. Each day became a deliberate exercise in alignment. Thought, faith, imagination, and action orchestrated toward defined objectives. Challenges became teachers, failures became guides, and each accomplishment reinforced the principles in practice. The journey is ongoing, I realized, for mastery is not a destination but a lifelong process. There is always higher clarity to achieve, deeper knowledge to acquire, and broader impact to create. Through reflection, I observed the interconnectedness of all these principles. Faith amplifies persistence. Imagination directs action. Emotional discipline enhances decision-making. Contribution attracts opportunity. Mastermind collaboration accelerates insight. I saw that no principle exists in isolation. Their power emerges through integration and consistent application. Life, when approached as a laboratory of principle, becomes a landscape of endless potential. Even as success grew, I remained vigilant. Achievement can breed complacency, and the mind that stops evolving stagnates. I committed to continuous growth, conscious learning, and deliberate improvement. Every setback, every challenge, and every triumph is part of a continuum, a chance to refine, expand, and strengthen both capability and character. Success, I realized, is a dynamic process requiring constant attention, application, and evolution. By the end of this phase, I recognized that the mind, disciplined, focused, and persistent, is the architect of destiny. Circumstance, luck, and external forces are secondary. The internal landscape determines the shape of reality. Each thought, each belief, each action contributes to the architecture of life, and mastery arises from deliberate construction. I had begun to see my life not as a series of random events, but as a carefully crafted design, shaped by principle, intention, and effort. And yet, I knew this was only the beginning. The first victories, the initial clarity, and the early successes were merely stepping stones. The deeper mastery of principle, the sustained creation of value, and the profound impact on others awaited further application, reflection, and persistence. Life had become a deliberate experiment in success, and I was determined to explore every possibility, overcome every limitation, and expand the horizons of what could be achieved. The days and months that followed were marked by relentless experimentation, reflection, and action. I had established my purpose, fortified my faith, honed my decision-making, cultivated persistence, and embraced imagination. Yet I quickly realized that mastery is tested not in comfort, but in challenge. Life began to present obstacles more complex, situations more nuanced, and opportunities more demanding of discernment. Each circumstance became a mirror, reflecting both my progress and the areas where further growth was required. One early lesson came in the form of failure. I had invested time, resources, and confidence into a venture that promised substantial growth. I had applied all the principles I knew: clear purpose, decisive action, persistent effort, and calculated risk. Yet the outcome was failure. At first, the sensation of defeat was sharp, almost paralyzing. But I recalled Hill's teaching. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. I analyzed the situation rigorously, identifying misjudgments, overlooked details, and areas of personal improvement. Rather than shrinking from failure, I allowed it to refine my judgment, strengthen my resolve, and sharpen my intuition. I understood that each setback carries the seed of equivalent or greater benefit if embraced with reflection and courage. I also confronted fear of public scrutiny, fear of rejection, and fear of uncertainty. Fear, I discovered, is the greatest enemy of initiative and creativity. It lurks silently in the mind, stifling ideas before they can manifest. I trained myself to observe fear as a signal, not a barrier. I acted deliberately in spite of it, understanding that courage is not the absence of fear, but action despite fear. Each courageous act fortified my confidence, turning hesitation into decisiveness and doubt into clarity. As my ventures progressed, I saw the immense value of persistence magnified through adversity. Opportunities often required repeated effort, patience, and adaptation. I learned that the difference between temporary failure and ultimate success lies not in the magnitude of effort, but in its consistency. Persistence converts temporary defeat into lasting achievement, and I made it a principle to continue moving forward, even when progress seemed imperceptible. Each day became a test. Could I persist longer, think deeper, and act more wisely than the obstacles before me? Over time, the answer became a resounding yes. The role of imagination became increasingly pivotal. Ordinary solutions seldom sufficed for complex challenges. I had to envision new paths, unconventional strategies, and novel approaches that others could not perceive. Creative imagination is the workshop of invention, and I used it to craft opportunities where none seemed to exist. I combined knowledge, experience, and intuition to generate ideas that were both practical and innovative. This creative process, nurtured by faith and directed by purpose, transformed theoretical possibility into tangible reality. Simultaneously, I deepened my understanding of the mastermind principle. I realized that collaboration is not merely about pooling resources, but about harmonizing minds toward a common objective. The exchange of ideas, the encouragement, and the mutual accountability of my mastermind group accelerated my progress exponentially. Each member contributed unique perspective, skill, and insight, creating a synergy that produced results far beyond individual effort. This experience revealed the profound truth: no one achieves greatness alone. The collective mind multiplies the potential of the individual. As I pursued these endeavors, I also recognized the critical importance of emotional discipline. Life presents unexpected turbulence, betrayal, misfortune, criticism, and unforeseen setbacks. To navigate such challenges effectively, I had to cultivate self-mastery. By maintaining calm, focused, and rational thought, I could perceive opportunities hidden within adversity. Emotional control allowed me to act decisively, respond wisely, and maintain persistence in the face of discouragement. I saw clearly that those who surrender to anger, envy, or fear are powerless to shape their destinies, while those who maintain equilibrium command their circumstances. During this time, I embraced the principle of specialized knowledge more fully. Broad learning provides awareness, but specialized knowledge converts awareness into influence. I immersed myself in fields that directly enhanced my objectives, studying deeply and acting decisively on what I learned. Knowledge, when coupled with action and purpose, is transformed into power. This principle reinforced the importance of continuous learning and adaptation. Stagnation is the enemy of progress, and mastery requires constant expansion of skill and insight. Another profound lesson was the understanding that contribution is the ultimate measure of success. True achievement transcends wealth, recognition, or position. It is about the impact one has on the lives of others. I aligned my efforts to create value, serve communities, and improve lives. In doing so, I discovered the law of compensation. The universe rewards service with abundance in ways that exceed expectation. Wealth, influence, and opportunities flowed naturally when my actions were guided by purpose, integrity, and the desire to uplift others. I began to see that prosperity is not pursued directly. It is the natural consequence of meaningful contribution. Throughout this journey, I documented every insight, lesson, and principle. Reflection became a tool for refinement, and journaling my experiences clarified patterns and illuminated pathways forward. I discovered that writing crystallizes thought, organizes perception, and reinforces learning. Each written reflection became a blueprint for future action, a repository of wisdom to draw upon in moments of doubt or challenge. In the midst of progress, I faced the ultimate test of all principles, the integration of adversity into growth. A significant crisis emerged, threatening to derail multiple ventures simultaneously. Financial pressures mounted, partnerships strained, and public opinion wavered. Many would have succumbed to despair, yet I understood that opportunity often appears disguised as adversity. I analyzed each challenge, applied my imagination, reinforced my faith, sought counsel from my mastermind, and acted decisively. Over time, what appeared to be crisis transformed into unprecedented opportunity. The principles I had cultivated, persistence, faith, imagination, decision, and collaboration, became instruments of triumph. Through this process, I came to understand a profound truth. Life's circumstances are not the determinants of success. The mind's response is. External events are neutral. Meaning and consequence are assigned through thought, emotion, and action. By mastering internal conditions, belief, focus, courage, and persistence, I could shape outcomes and influence reality. The mind is the architect of destiny, and disciplined, purpose-driven thought manifests powerfully in the external world. As success stabilized, I turned my attention to mentoring others, sharing the principles that had transformed my life. Teaching, I found, deepened understanding, clarified principles, and reinforced my commitment. The act of guiding others illuminated subtleties of application that I might have otherwise overlooked. True mastery includes the ability to impart knowledge, inspire action, and elevate others. Through mentorship, I multiplied the impact of my journey, creating ripples of success that extended far beyond my personal sphere. I also observed that personal growth and achievement are inseparable from ethical conduct. Integrity is not optional. It is the foundation upon which lasting success rests. Trustworthiness, honesty, and fairness attract allies, build reputation, and create lasting opportunity. I discovered that success devoid of principle is fleeting, while principle-guided action produces enduring achievement. The mind aligned with integrity attracts circumstances, people, and results that reinforce and expand potential. Ultimately, I recognize that success is a process of continuous alignment. Thought, purpose, faith, action, persistence, imagination, and collaboration must operate in harmony. Each principle reinforces the others, creating a feedback loop that compounds capability and achievement. The journey never truly ends. There is always a higher plateau, a broader impact, a more refined mastery. Life becomes an ongoing experiment in principle, an art of deliberate creation, and a testament to the power of disciplined thought. Reflecting on my path, I see the evolution of a mind transformed. From uncertainty to clarity, from hesitation to decisive action, from scattered effort to focused mastery, I have traversed a landscape of learning, challenge, and triumph. Each step was guided by timeless principles. The power of thought, faith in oneself, persistence in adversity, imagination in problem-solving, decisiveness in action, collaboration with like-minded minds, emotional discipline, specialized knowledge, contribution, and integrity. Together, these principles form the architecture of personal success. As I continue forward, I understand that mastery is not a destination but a dynamic, lifelong process. There will always be new challenges to overcome, new heights to reach, and new lives to touch. Success is not measured solely by material gain, but by the growth of mind, the strength of character, and the enduring impact one leaves on the world. I have learned that a life built on principle, guided by purpose, and sustained by disciplined action is limitless in potential. And so I move forward each day, deliberately, thoughtfully, persistently, knowing that the mind, disciplined and focused, is the ultimate architect of destiny. I embrace challenge, create opportunity, and cultivate mastery, confident that the principles of success are timeless, universal, and available to all who choose to apply them with faith, courage, and persistence.